Hey, church family. I'm here to bring you another word of encouragement this Thursday morning. And I want to talk to you or share a little bit about what we talk about in our family. So, we have a saying where when we're talking to our kids and when we talk to each other about having Rehoboam moments. And you'll find out what I mean by that in a little bit. But yeah, we just talk about like when we come up to decisions or when something's going on, hey, this is a Rehoboam moment. So who are you listening to? So let's start off. Let's go to First Kings, and our actual story is in First Kings, starting at chapter 12. But we'll talk about a little bit of history before we get there. First, it starts with Solomon, the son after David. Everybody knows Solomon was the wisest, but in his later years, he married so many different, had so many different wives that he ended up turning away from God. And so, because of his disobedience, God tells him basically he's going to lose the kingdom that was promised to his father David. So, part of the kingdom is going to be taken away. So, we get to Rehoboam, who is one of Solomon's sons. And God had already decided, you know what, because your father wasn't listening, you're not going to have the whole kingdom as David and Solomon had. So he already decided, God already decided that he was going to break away part of the kingdom and have just a certain area for him. So God had already decided this. But even when we look at this, even though God had already decided that this was going to happen, it's still, there's a message here and in how do we or who we listen to. So I'm not going to read it word for word, but basically, we get to Rehoboam, who is now supposed to be taking over for his father Solomon for the kingdom. And basically, what it comes down to is, they go to this council, and the people of Israel come to him and say, "Hey, um, your father has, you know, put a heavy burden on us. So he's making it hard for us. So we're asking you to lighten this burden." So they're asking Rehoboam to lighten this burden, and so Rehoboam says, "Okay, well, give me 3 days to think about it. What I'm gonna do." So the people are like, "Okay, we'll give you 3 days. We'll come back." So Rehoboam goes out, gets counsel from some wise men, older men, and they tell him, "Hey, you know what? If you want them to follow you, this is what you should do. You should make their burden easy. You should take it easier on them than your father did. And if you do that, then the people will love you and they'll follow you wherever you go." So he gets that advice from the older, wiser men. So then he goes to his friends, the younger guys that I guess you could say he hangs around with, and he asks them, "Hey, what should I do?" And they say, "You know what? You should be tougher than your father was. You should tell them, hey, you thought my father was hard? I'm going to be harder. So it's going to be harder with me than it was for him. So you thought he was a mean guy? I'm going to be meaner." So that's what they tell him to do. And so he takes this advice and he goes back to the people after the 3 days. They come to him and he tells them basically, "I'm going to make this harder on you than my father ever did. So you better get in line." And the people, don't take it well. They're upset. They leave. They're like, "Forget you. We're not following you anymore. Forget this." So they said, "We're not going to have that," basically. So then they basically tear away the kingdom from him. And what ends up happening is he sends a guy uh, to go kind of get them back in line. They pretty much kill him. And so then he runs away. So there's the kingdom split apart right there. Um, and so that's what I mean when we talk about in our family those Rehoboam moments. It's like when we tell our kids, like, are you getting wise counsel? Are you getting uh, help from people that are older? Are you getting people that kind of have more wisdom in these areas? So we tell them like, hey, in these times when you make these decisions, make sure you're getting wisdom from people that are older and wiser, and don't just listen to your friends. I mean, I'm not saying that you can't have young friends that are wise. I mean, we all know that You can have young friends that are wise, and we all know we can have older people that are not wise. So it goes both ways. But when we talk about that, we're saying, are you taking the time to listen and just get feedback from people that you know are going to make smart decisions, or that you know have made smart decisions and are going to lead you in the right direction? So that's what we mean by those Rehoboam moments. So we're like, when you have those Rehoboam moments, make sure that you're getting the correct advice. So, church family, I just want to encourage you with that. Just as a reminder, hey, when you're going through life and you have decisions to make, or if you have things that you're going through, or something that you need to talk about, that you talk with those people that are godly people, that are wise, that are going to give you good advice and not give you advice like Rehoboam got, um, to do things the opposite way and then make it worse than it could have been. So, church family, I encourage you with that. I hope you guys all have a great day. Thank you.